Hey friends, it is 5 Minute Fridays with Vince, and I love doing this with you guys. I'm also excited about being able to have this time to help you transition from your work week to your weekend. You know how this works. Anyway, so today, this one I want to call specifically Overcoming Dysfunction. And before we get really deep into how to overcome it, let's first define it. So, overcoming dysfunction, and overcoming dysfunction. Definition. Here we go. The first one is the abnormality or impairment of the function of a specified bodily organ or system. In other words, when something in your body does not operate properly, for example, like a bowel dysfunction or respiratory dysfunction, something that's not operating the capacity has been created to function. But the other one is the one I want to kind of emphasize on a little more. Dysfunction, deviant form, deviant from the norms of social behavior in a way regarded as bad. Deviant form of the norms of social behavior. In other words, what we would consider bad behavior, something that was not considered common for the culture, things that we feel like are not approved to be in certain circles. For example, it would be dysfunctional form to not properly use the salad fork when it is laid out properly, when the salad course comes in a formal dining setting. But let's go a little deeper with dysfunction. Um, this week we in our Bible study at church we had, and as a matter of fact, if you want to, you can go back to our Catalyst page, search Catalyst FDT, and you can see the Catalyst page. We were breaking down, we just begun our study in Matthew. Actually, it's Matthew chapter 1 verses 1 through 17. And when you look at Matthew chapter 1 verses 1 through 17, it is the genealogy of Christ. And when you go through this genealogy of Christ and you begin to look at everyone who was in his family, goodness gracious, man, if you just went by their experiences and what they did alone, most people would be like, yeah, he had some scrappy people in his family. And rightfully so. What I love about his genealogy, and that everyone that's included in this list of names, this list of who's who, are that they're actually just they are people with real issues, with real dilemmas, who needed a real king, who needed a real savior, who need a real relationship with a God who, watch this, who was not surprised or caught off guard by their dysfunction. If anything, he chose them despite their dysfunction. Which brings me to my point today about overcoming dysfunction. If we could understand the fact that the things that we have been called to do or that we are created to be a part of for God, sometimes one is greater than where we are right now. It's going to require us to be the one that is not normal. However, it does not mean that being different does not mean that you are absent or that you are not going to be allowed to be a part of this great, amazing thing that God's trying to do. He chooses you on purpose because there's something that you bring to the table that nobody else can bring. When you go down the list of names that are in his family, it talks about people like Isaac and Jacob, Solomon, Jesse, David. I mean, some of these guys, when you listen to their stories and you know what they did and what they lived through, they had some great high moments, like David, killing Goliath, killing a lion, killing a bear. But then we also had some low moments, Bathsheba with Uriah's wife. And then we look at his seed, Solomon, wisest king of the earth, richest man ever known. And the amazing thing is, he gets the opportunity to do what his father did not get to do, is build the temple for God. And even with him, he had some failures, and there were some things that happened. Watch this. And he was not David's only son. We look at Josiah, the youngest king. When we look at the kings who were responsible during the times between David and between their time in bondage, I realized that there are so many things that happen that what we miss is we miss the fact that none of the stuff that they did surprised God. If anything, he knew they were going to do it and still said, I'm going to send my king. I'm going to send my son. I'm going to let him be in this bloodline, in this crazy, weird not fitting the social norm family. So if Jesus could come from a dysfunctional family, maybe you should stop looking at what you're a part of, what you're a product of, what you have lived through, what you're being challenged with right now, and what you're looking to get victory in, and realize that overcoming dysfunction first comes with accepting the fact that God knows you and he wants the best version of you. Absolutely. Which does not mean that you get to stay how you are. It means that as you grow closer to him, that you become more of what he's looking for so that he can begin to get the most out of what he wants in your life. And so that you can be at the end of the list of names, the one who makes the begats stop with you, the generational curses stop with you, that the foolishness of previous generations get the opportunity to be canceled and finished with you. Tell me what you think about this one. I like this one. I'm excited to maybe find out what your comments are. So I want you to respond in the comments. Listen, guys, I love doing this with you guys. It's 5 to 5 with Vince. Talk to you later, guys. Love you. Bye.